Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have some bully romance recommendations for you. So if you are new here or you are not familiar with my reading taste, I prefer very angsty books and bully books, stalking, obsessive heroes. Those are my favorite stories to read. I thought I would talk about just some of my favorite bully romances. Some of these are reverse harem, some of these are high school bully. So the first recommendation I have for you is the peak bully romance that I think when everybody thinks of bully romance, this is kind of top tier, and that is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. So this is about Misha and Ryan, and they are actually pen pals from childhood. They got matched up together and they have been writing to each other ever since. And they decided pretty early on that they wouldn't look up each other on social media, they wouldn't know what each other looked like, and that they would just communicate through letters. Some extenuating circumstances bring Misha into Ryan's high school, where he quickly discovers that she's not exactly who he thought she was all along. He knows that she is his pen pal, but she has no idea. And this sets up a bully aspect because Ryan herself is kind of a mean girl, kind of a bully, and Misha gets back at her. This is astounding. This is peak angst, and it's just one of those pretty angsty bully romances that you just cannot get enough of. There is a scene in this where he literally licks her neck and tells her that she tastes like shit, which is just perfection. I think this is one of the best bully romances. This was my first bully romance, and to this day it's just top tier. So next up we have Boys of Brayshaw High, and this is a series, and this is about a girl who is not like other girls, and she ends up going to Brayshaw High after she is put in like a foster home for like troubled youth, and the kings of this school, the Brayshaw boys, and she has a bullying relationship with their leader, and she kind of gets enmeshed in their mafia-esque world. And there's a lot of moving parts to this. There's a revenge aspect to other people in their lives. She fights back to the heroine and his brothers, and they don't really like that, so they kind of push back. This is a very fanficky, messy book, but if you are going in looking for a messy good time, I would super recommend this. I think that the heroine, while she is not like other girls, she isn't slut shaming, she isn't doing any of that, and I think she's a perfect match for what the boys bring to the table. So next up we have Hate by Tate James. This is a reverse harem romance, and it is about Madison Kate, who in the beginning of the book, she gets framed for a crime that she did not commit, and when she comes back to this town owned by her father, she has to live with the men that she thinks framed her and go to a college that her father built. So this is a 4-part book, and they end on cliffhangers, and this is a very self-aware, messy, new adult bully romance, and it constantly makes jokes about itself. Madison Kate and all of the men are like the epitome of the archetype that they fit into, but it is so much fun, and it's so self-aware that it's almost hard to make fun of it. You're laughing at it with itself, and it's just a fantastic time. The twists are crazy, and I think all of the guys are distinct enough in the reverse harem that you kind of root for all of them. I have my personal favorite. If you are a fan of reverse harem, I think you will like the way this one ends. All right, and then the last bully romance recommendation that I have for you is probably my second favorite on this list, and that is the Golden Boys. So in the beginning of this, the hero and the heroine meet at a party that is being hosted by the hero. They lock eyes across across a bonfire, but they don't actually ever interact. And then we see the very next scene is the hero snooping in his father's safe. His father seems to be a very influential man, but he's not a very good father, like the stereotypical rich guy, asshole father. And he's snooping in his father's safe, and he comes across a cell phone that has pictures of the heroine naked from the waist up. A couple of months later at orientation at their private school, he sees her and he decides that he is going to ruin her life as kind of like to assuage his guilt, but also to kind of like avenge his mother. And he includes his brothers, his two brothers, and their like gang to bully her. I will say this is very different from most bully romances that I have read. I feel like it's special in that you get several scenes where the hero is like, this is not me, this is not how I usually treat people, and you see scenes of him being very kind-hearted and being very loving and understanding and open to everybody else in his life. He is like a fuckboy, but in the beginning of the book, he basically says like, my brothers would never do this to somebody, being ruining someone's life, so they know if I'm recommending that we do it, that I have a good reason. And so that kind of sets you up for the atmosphere. These boys are great boys. They are like just your typical teenage boy, and they're kind of putting themselves in situations that they wouldn't normally be put in. And the heroine herself is very downtrodden. She comes from an abusive household with an absentee mother and an alcoholic father, and she is like the sole caretaker of her sister, and her brother is in prison, so she gets this chance to go to this private academy, which she feels like will boost her and her sister into a better life, and she runs into these boys. This just has a very different feel and a very different atmosphere. The hero is incredibly loving, and he has that like don't touch, only I can touch her vibe. Over time, as he kind of gets feelings for her, his brothers are noticing those feelings, and they back off, and it kind of just becomes him against her, and it's like a catty back and forth. And the heroine is not meek and mild. She doesn't bow down. She definitely pulls pranks. She talks shit. Like, it just, all together, they're a perfect match for each other. And those are all of the bully romance recommendations that I have for you right now. If you have read or are planning on reading any of these, make sure you comment that down below. I would love to know. But other than that, I will catch you guys in my next one. Thanks so much for watching.